to the father of your children. What is wrong with you? He cheated. Okay, now you're alone. And you're calling me and you're telling me I don't want to be alone. I'm lonely and I can't find anyone else. And I've got these kids and I'm tired and I'm going to work and they're asking me where dad's at. Like, that doesn't sound healthy or good for anyone involved. Go back to your husband. Now, I never heard him say, if anybody was hitting or abusing in that way where it was very serious, I never heard him tell anybody to go back to an abusive relationship. But in the case where there was a lot of things where it was just lack of communication, go back to your husband and go, and ride off into the sunset, the imperfect sunset that is every single relationship in the entire world. It's like we were just saying, you're never going to agree with 100% of anything anyone says. So taking that into consideration, get back with the father of your children and make it work so that everybody can be happy.
Right, but like if they cheated, it was just okay. So that the alternative stick by their side. That also, is that something that you should be celebrated? If you want to be in a monogamous relationship and that person cheats, and then you might be alone, but it's the alternative to stick with that person just because so you're not alone. Be with a cheater and a liar and a manipulator.
I think if you have kids, it's different.
I get it, but having kids does not exempt you from being loyal.
Yeah, right? But I think if you...
unless you have that agreement, that's different.
Shalom. This is just a quick little lesson. This is Tuwa Banya Hawada. Just coming through something quick. So basically what the woman was saying was, basically true. It's how the Lord permits, a man and a woman to be. Those who commit themselves to each other, call themselves become a man and wife. There's really, like, divorce is a thing within the Bible, but it's agreed upon with the man. In Esau society, everything is averted or, upside down. So, divorce is mainly determined based on a woman in this society. But in the ancient days, it was mainly determined by the man. And he would have to write her a bill of divorcement and she would leave. Simple as that. But now, in this society, it's the other way around. She gets the divorce papers and he has to leave. But my point in making this is because what she's saying is true. Those of us, who have children with someone, you may not be with them, you're still supposed to be with them. Like, I'm trying to put it in a simpler terms because basically it saves both of you from committing adultery. So if a woman has a child with a man, and then they call themselves not being together no more or breaking up, she technically cannot be with another man because she's bound to one man for the rest of her life, as the Lord ordained a woman to be under one man for the rest of her life. So in that aspect, she cannot be with another man unless her husband or the father of her child, untimely passes away. That's the only way she's permitted to being with another man, is her first husband has to pass away. So, like the elders and apostles, they tell us all the time, a lot of these women, they're not really our women, because they've already slept with a man and he's already deflowered her and took her virginity, and technically that makes him her husband. So, a lot of these women, they're not ours, but in the same aspect, we got to deal with what we got to deal with within the society, not knowing what we're supposed to know. But the point of me showing the video is what she's saying is true, because technically you are supposed to stay with your significant other, who you have children with, or just who you commit yourself with. You're never really supposed to break up. Like, and even when a man, back then when a man would, not want to deal with his woman, he still had to sleep with her to save her from stepping out and going to sleep with another man. He still had to sleep with her, even though he didn't want to be with her or, you know, call himself being together with her, being a couple. He still has to sleep with her for just not committing adultery, her stepping out and being with another man. And I'll go into it with the verses. But yeah, because ultimately she still belongs to her husband and he hasn't died, so she cannot be with anyone else. But the man can commit adultery by just simply putting his wife away, or what they call putting away, not dealing with her in a intimate on an intimate level, and then not sleeping with her and sleeping with another woman. He's neglecting his first wife and her duties, as Exodus 21:22 says. A man gains another wife, he shall not diminish his first wife from her duties. That's being a wife, giving you sex, taking care of you, nurturing you. So I'm going to pull a couple verses out just to back up what I'm saying, and then just to prove that the Lord said it. And what the woman was saying, resonates with the word, because it's facts. It's to save both of you. It's not just to be like the guy, in the video. He tried to make it seem like, you dealing with some type of, what do you want to call it? Like mental manipulation type, like a narcissistic, cheater. Like, no, we're talking about like she said, a lack of communication. People stepping out on each other for, not talking for weeks, or not feeling like they getting the attention that they deserve from their significant other, so they step out on them, and because fucking so and so been hitting them up in they DMs all fucking month, and she been blowing them off trying to commit to her man, and he just been not paying attention, and now she want to step out on him and give that attention back to old boy who been blowing her up. I'm just saying, like, it's the little dumb shit in this society that causes women and men to go off, and just it wrecks everything that how things are supposed to be within the society, because a man can't even simply find a woman who hasn't dealt with multiple men, because you just have these these were the dumbest situations that people warrant as validation to step out and go be with somebody else they're not supposed to be with. So I'm gonna start with Leviticus 21:7. They shall not take a wife that is a whore or profane, neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his God. Yeah, so it says you cannot take a woman put away, meaning you meet a woman, and she talking about, you ask her if she got a man or a husband, and she like, oh, it's complicated, we off and on. Like, that's going off dealing with a woman who's basically put away. That's basically being put away. Like, he not dealing with her on a daily basis as his wife, so she's put away, meaning she's not necessarily in his, they're not, basically they just not together at the moment, so she's just disbarred from having sex with him, and the other way around. But you cannot still go and deal with her because she's in a complex situation to where it seems like she's not going to be with this man, or whatever. And you think that you can still deal with her. That's just not how it works. I'm just trying to make this quick, so I'm going to keep going. This is Jeremiah 3:1. They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not the land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again unto me, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And really, he's talking to Israel. He's talking to us, Israelites, in a sense of we going off and whoring to these other idols and religious, sects and cults. I'm not saying the word sex, but yeah, these different religious groups, and in all this idol worship, we in the Lord's eyes, we just whoring off, committing ourselves to other false, to these false gods, to these false deities, these false energies, and we neglecting the true power, and our true God, the one who's set above us or over us and for us. So in a sense, the Lord seeing us the same way that our women act. How our women act is the same way the Lord sees us, Israelites. Like we for the streets, in a sense. But yeah, it says, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another, shall he return unto her again? Shall not the land be greatly polluted? Yeah, so when a woman steps out on her husband or on her man, and she go be with another man and get whatever done to her, and then come back to her man like nothing happened, and this man go down on her or kiss her, or just treating her as she his, and this whole time he dealing with a woman who just did the most disgusting, despicable stuff in the last 24 hours. You don't know what this man did to his wife, and then she come back home and act like it ain't nothing, and he kissing all on her, and like, it's nasty. Like, once you come into this truth, you get a sense, you start seeing like the real surface of things. Like, you start seeing people in their filthiness and their lewdness. It's like you get a sense of how the Lord sees us. Once we look at people who do these type of things that don't align or are not conducive to our growth as his creation, as his people, as Israelites. So when we doing all this, like, when I look at some of my family members and I know they eat pork, like, when I look at them, like, they just look disgusting. They look nasty to me sometimes, because they putting something that's so nasty in their body. And I just can't fathom them looking clean or being clean after that, knowing that you putting something that you're not supposed to put in your body. So that's the same way the Lord looks at us when we go off and go, praise these other gods, this Jebus and Buddha, Krishna, who was them damn Egypt niggas, Muslims, Islam. You just going off. We polluting ourselves in the eyes of the Lord. And then we want to come back to him, when we about to die, or, whatever. Like, it be some last minute shit when Jake want to start turning back and, returning unto Yahweh and Yahushua. But anyways, I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 7:11. But, and if she depart from her husband, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. So that's basically what I was saying with the lady. You know, she's right. A woman should just go back to her husband. She should remain unmarried. She shouldn't be with nobody else as long as they call themselves taking a break, being in a complicated situation, whatever you want to call it. She should remain unmarried and not be with nobody. Meaning she cannot. Sex is marriage. That's why the Lord says sex is marriage. The minute she has sex with another man, she's married just like that. She's already gained a new husband. So when a man, calls himself putting away his wife, or calls themselves going on a break, and him not dealing with her intimately or romantically, you just run the risk of going off and committing adultery on both ends. He finding somebody and sleeping with her without sleeping with his wife still, or she not containing herself and just being a hoe out there, just sleeping with different dudes until her and J Rock get it get it back together. But yeah, it says let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, meaning go back to him. And I'm gonna read this last one. I'll read Matthew 19:9. This is what Yahushua said. I say unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. And that's what I mean on both ends. So it says, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Meaning, you not dealing with her, but on a sexual level. Like, you just still remaining, your sex is, it's not only the stamp of approval of a relationship, but it's also it's a continual binding agreement between you and the other person that you're to remain committed to each other, and that's through sex, because sex is the most intimate form of human contact between man and woman. That's something special. Sex is special. I don't care what nobody says. Like, you can sit there and try and fake the funk like, oh, I can have sex without feelings. That's a fucking lie. Sex is special. It's a soul tie. So it is definitely special. So with that being said, when a man puts away his wife, it should only be on the terms of, I'm not dealing with you, but when we start getting what's the word? We start burning, we start feeling ourselves, we have to understand that this is what we need to do in order to not go off, to not commit adultery, not commit sin. Because we still have to fornicate. We got to do the horizontal bump and grind. You feel me? And that's just how the Lord wants it, because it saves you in the end. And it's just a sanitary thing. It's cleanliness. When you dealing with somebody, they ain't been nowhere. They still got you inside them, not a million fucking niggas. Like, it's just crazy to me. And especially with the new studies that's coming out showing that women, they retain every semen that they sleep with from every guy. And that's from pre-cum to, the actual waters. So, it's a cleanliness thing on top of a, salvation thing. The Lord is about balance. It's balance within the two. So, I just want to bring that out. Lord willing, it's edifying. It helps some of you understand that, with the lack of, with certain things, and we call ourselves not being with somebody, all it really takes is, I want to say that's in Corinthians, but like Corinthians say, confessing our faults to one another and forgiving one another, and having fervent prayer for one another, just praying and loving on each other, and having a one-on-one and communicating and an accountability, talk. take accountability for, you know, y'all actions or, you know, what y'all say. You know, me too. This is going to me too. You know, and this is something that I try and practice within my relationship. You know, because I've been with my wife 16 years. And that's all just due to communication. Without that, it wouldn't have lasted. Because, you know, when you mad and you in the moment, you gonna do stupid stuff. And you gonna try and validate it with anger. You think because you mad that's a warrant or a validation to do something, and it's not. You know, that's a gray area or a time where Satan can use you and manipulate you and you know, start taking over within your life and start ruining things that you built up. So, you know, with that being said, Lord willing, it's edifying. Hopefully this helped, you know, some of y'all. Maybe y'all going through something, y'all need some, you know, clarification on how you should handle this situation. If you a woman in the truth, go back to your man. Don't be with nobody else. And don't be trying to be with no man in the truth. Because you're going to get that man in trouble in that day. And that ain't cool. So, if you a woman in the truth and you just left your husband, you just left your man, you need to go back to him. Reconcile that relationship. Don't be with nobody else. So, yeah, Lord willing, it was edifying. Once again, I want to say, call Halayim La, Alahaya Nawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, which our learning is true from. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there who labor in his word with truth and sincerity. And to the few Akwas listening and learning in obedience and silence, to you I say Shalom. And to the speckled bird Israelite who happen to look like these other nations, but do indeed, through the bloodline, come back to the nation of Israel. To you I say Shalom. And have a great night. Kwam Yasharallah, our time coming. Let's just get right and do what we can to, you know, stay on the good foot and keep the good fight of faith and a fight for truth within ourselves. Pray for the spirit to stay within you, the spirit of truth. We just want to thank you, Yahweh Shai, for your holy magnified sacrifice, not only me, but for the whole nation of Israel. Shalom.